Hello, my friends. So this is a quick tutorial on how to cite using NoodleTools. So I am already on the Library Media Center site and I'm under Research Tools, and that's where you find the link for NoodleTools. So if I click the blue hyperlink, it will bring me up to my NoodleTools account. So if you've never used NoodleTools before, you might have to go through some setup. But because I've been in here recently, I didn't even need to select my Google account. It just brought me right into my projects. So this is where you'll end up when you first begin. And on any page in NoodleTools, if you go to the upper left-hand corner, there's a green button and you can create new things from that green button. So we're going to create a new project. Your project title should be something that you can easily identify what class it's for, what project it is. You don't just want to call it history because you might end up having 5 history projects this year. So you want to make sure that you call it something unique. So I'm actually going to call mine More Romeo and Juliet because that's the teacher I'm doing it for and this is the project that I'm doing, okay? So the citation style is going to be MLA, and the level is going to be junior. So starter's a little too easy, advanced is a little overwhelming, although you could use that if you were, say, trying to cite a Twitter feed or a blog post or even an audio clip. But for our purposes, junior is going to work for most projects that you have to do. After that, you want to click submit. And that's going to create a new project and bring us to the project dashboard. Okay, from the project dashboard, there are some things you can do. Say your teacher created an inbox that they want you to share with them. So here you would go ahead and share with a project inbox. You could start typing the project, which your teacher would give you the name, and then you would share it with their inbox. If you were doing a group project, you could also add additional students to your project from this tab. You would just click Add Students, and then you would go ahead and type in their full email, and then all of you would be able to collaborate on the same project. But for our purposes today, I'm just going to show you the Sources tab, which is how you cite things. Okay, so true to form, in the upper left-hand corner, there is a green button, so we're going to go ahead and click New Source. From here, you want to click what type of source it is. I always recommend that you start with the databases. So our first source is going to be a database source. Typically, it's going to be original content, but it could be any of these other items. So you want to make sure that you are clicking the right thing. So like I said, it's going to be original content for us, so we'll click that. Okay, from here, this looks very complicated, right? But because we are doing it from a database, databases typically give us the citation. So our first one's going to be from Bloom's Literature, which I already have the article opened. Okay, you can see that there are different options up here, and if you look, here's the citation. So we click there, and we can just highlight the entire citation and copy it. Go to our NoodleTools. We click this copy and paste citation, and it does give us this disclaimer. Make sure that everything is correct. You click in the box and paste. Okay, that's all you have to do, and you click save, and it will create a new citation for us. And we're going to wait till it does that, and there it is. Okay, it tells us it's from a database. And if we needed to go back to it, we could click and it would take us right to that article. Okay, so we need our second source, so we'll click New Source. And this time, it's going to be a website. I'm going to show you how to build a website citation. So again, typically it's going to be a web page, but it could be these other items, so you want to make sure you try to select the right thing. Okay, on websites, you actually do have to build the citation. So I have my website over here. So you have to go through and pull the information. So I recommend you just toggle back and forth. So the first bit of information we need is the URL. We're going to copy and paste the URL. Okay, we need the date of publication. So this was published March 2016. The most recent date of access is always going to be the last day that you viewed it. So for right now, that's today. But if we do go back to the article, we can change that date. Okay, the contributors. Not everything always has an author or an editor, but we're going to look at our article, and it does say that it was written by Andrew Dixon. So that's going to be our author. So we want to select the role, and this is the author. And I'm going to type in Andrew, skip the middle name, Dixon. Okay. If you needed to add more contributors, you could click here and it would give you more spaces to do that. Okay, the web page or document article title. So again, this is not the website title, it's the document article title. So that here would be the violence of Romeo and Juliet, and sometimes you can just copy and paste it. You also want to make sure that everything's capitalized. It didn't capitalize violence, so we'll fix that. Also, you can see that if it doesn't have a title, you can click this untitled and you can provide a brief description instead of a title. Now you see that some things have a red star, a red asterisk. So that's actually the first red asterisk that we have in the whole thing, right? That is the only information that NoodleTools requires of you. However, you should always put the amount of information that you are given. If you're not given an author, you're not going to make up an author. If you're not given a date of publication, you're not going to make that up. But if you have all that information, you want to make sure that you give all that information. In addition, if you click in the box and then click this little eye, it will give you information on what they're looking for. So if you're not sure, you click the eye and you read these directions, you read this little description, and it will help you to figure out what goes in that box. Okay, so in this case, we'll go back. The name of this website is British Library. And then the publisher of the site, again, if you're not sure what that means, click on the eye. And it says, look for the copyright statement. Leave this blank if the publisher's name is the same as the site. So we know our site is British Library. Typically the copyright is all the way down at the bottom. Okay, and it says all text is at British Library, blah, 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 blah. So this is also the British Library, but in some cases, for example, the History Channel. The History Channel, history.com is, the name of the site is History, but our History Channel, but the person that publishes the site is A&E Networks. So that would be one that's two different answers there. So we don't need to put anything here. Now, if you were doing an annotated bibliography, you could enter it here. But for right now, we have put in all the information that we were given, so we're going to click Save. And then as you can see, it's going to put our citations in alphabetical order. And the last one we did is always going to be highlighted a bit. Okay, so when you go back in here, you can always click View as a live web page, and it will take you, if you did everything correctly, it will take you back to that page. So this is a great thing to do as you're going, as you're finding resources, so you can always make it back to those resources if you need to. Okay, we're going to do one more, and this is in the Gale databases. I chose the Gale databases because this has a really cool feature that it will export right to NoodleTools. So you can see right now that in NoodleTools we have two citations. We're going to go in Gale. Okay, I chose this article, Romeo and Juliet and Renaissance Notions of Love, Time, and Death. So you can see, I have another video where I'm going to show you the ins and outs of Gale, but for right now we're going to click this Cite button. And you could copy and paste this just like we did with Bloom's, but it's even easier than that if you click Export to NoodleTools. and it's going to open a new page. You want to make sure that everything is clicked properly so these references look good and I don't need to edit them. Okay. You want to make sure you're on the right project. If you had more than one project going at the same time, you want to just make sure you select the right one. And from here, you click Import. Okay. It says reference successfully exported. We can close this particular tab and we're going to go back to NoodleTools, but it's not there. But that's okay. It will be there if we click the refresh button. And there it is. Okay, it's not highlighted this time, but it's this one, okay? So some things you can do under options, if you needed to go back and say you thought you forgot something, you can edit and you can add different information into your citation if you needed to, okay? And from here, say you're finished, say you've gotten all of your citations that you need, you're going to need a works cited page. So the last step is going to this print export drop down, and you want to print or export to Google Docs. And the great thing about this is it's going to magically create a brand new Google Doc that is completely and 100% correctly formatted to just print and turn in. And there it is. It titles it Works Cited, it puts a page number, it does the hanging indent, there's no extra spaces, it's double spaced throughout, it's Times New Roman 12 and 1-inch margins all the way around. So from here you could just click print and print it out so you could just hand it in. Okay? If you did need to put a heading on it, you could just hit enter a couple times and put your heading in. Okay? Hopefully that helped for some of the basics of NoodleTools, and I hope to see you real soon.